All right, you guys, let's get into creating a new project from the staff side. Now, from the customer side or the client side, things might be dumbed down a little bit. They'll be a little bit simpler than this, but this is for you and your team, who will, of course, just have complete control over everything. And let's just jump into it with dragging and dropping some files in. These are STL files, but they don't have to be. They could be SolidWorks files, they could be step files, they could be anything you'd like, as long as it's a common CAD format. And what are these default settings that we see? These are the settings that come from your Materials and Capabilities tab, and you set them right here. We did that in a different video. These are the default settings that just show up by default when you drop something in. But from there, it is of course very easy to just get to work making any kind of project you would like. So let's go with gray PETG. All of these parameters can be customized, and check out the other videos for information on that. And there you go. If you're the kind of place that sells something, you'll see a price here that has been automated. There's a whole video on that. You can override it to whatever price you'd like. And if you're not the kind of place that sells something, you just won't see anything there. No big deal. Great. Up here, let's talk about what we have. So the client is the person that you're ultimately printing the parts for. So in this case, let's say Mike, fake guy at fakeguy.com. Okay, so this is the first time we've ever seen this person, so we'll go ahead and just create an account for them. They don't ever have to log in. This is just how we're tracking them. And it's going to ask if we want to add him to an organization. We can just ignore that for now. Otherwise, you can add them to an organization here. Let's quickly explain how that works. So people work for different companies, in this case fakeguy.com, or maybe they work for different departments within a company, in which case you would put their department here. This is basically just your way of keeping track of groups of clients by associating them with an organization. So fake organization number 2. I'm putting number 2 because I feel like I've already created fake organization number 1. Okay, you can put in as much information as you want about that organization. We're going to leave it blank for now, except for the name. Then up here, you can go to fake organization number 2's profile and see every single member and every single project that has ever happened in fake organization number 2. Or you can go here where this little circle of the person is, and here it will show you Mike Fake Guy at fakeguy.com. It'll show you every single project he has ever made, as well as every organization that he is a part of, as well as any additional notes that you want to take. So very, very convenient way of keeping track of your various clients. So Mike Fake Guy. Right here, these are notes for you and your staff only. Customers/clients cannot see this. So that's just a great spot to put anything about the project in general, just right there at the top. That's how you could put any particularly special notes. Cool. Let's now go on to talk about more communication features. Right here, you'll see this chat bubble. This is actually much more than just a chat bubble. This is also documentation. So anything that has ever happened ever is logged. And we can see that today at 5:25, Michael updated the color to gray. At 5:25, he updated the material to PETG. Anything that's ever happened, it'll show you who did it and when. So if you're trying to become ISO certified, this is going to help you get well on your way. This is at the specific part level. If you wanted to talk to someone about this part, maybe production, check this out and let me know your thoughts. Anyone who is on the production team would get tagged. You could also just call out one specific person like Ava and talk just to Ava. Oh, looks like I'm on the production team. I'm not gonna hit this right here. I'm not gonna go to that notification because I'm already conveniently at that part. But let's assume that I'm somewhere else. I'm over here. And I got that notification. Now watch what happens as I click this. it takes me straight to the notification that I was just pinged on. There it is. Very convenient way of keeping things organized rather than emailing someone and them emailing a bunch of other people and everyone just sort of like getting lost in a paper trail. Everything you ever need to know about a part is right here. And you can even add like attachments and files and things like that as well. So that's at the part level. There's another chat room at the project level. So this is now for everything in your project, not just individual parts within your project. And same deal, right? If you click these, you can see pretty much everything that's ever happened. You can talk to groups or people about the project, and you can attach things to that specific project chat room. You can even go further into it over here with making like to-do lists and all sorts of additional things that we'll get into in a more advanced video. But yeah, you basically have a whole whiteboard as well for the project, should you choose to use it. Here is where you talk to the customer. So if I were to type into this and hit enter, Mike fakeguy at fakeguy.com would get an email assuming that he's not logged in and that he hasn't seen this. He could then reply to that email. His reply would show up here, and this is an incredibly convenient way for everyone on your team to see everything that's been said across the board between all of your staff members and your customers. So great spot to keep things organized down there. All right, so there's so much here. Forgive me if I'm going to be short-winded here. Forgive me if I skip some things and then come back to them later. Let's take a look up here. Here's where you can assign people to certain roles. So in sales, I'm going to assign myself. Now this is a demo account and I actually don't know which one of these fake Michaels I am, so I'm assigning all three of them to the sales role for this project. So if I'm somewhere else in the software and I want to see what projects have been assigned to me in the sales role, here it is. Fake organization number 2 was assigned to me. So this is a pretty neat way to keep people up to speed on what they are or aren't in charge of without pinging them on absolutely everything. Okay, due dates and lead times can be automated. There are videos on that. Otherwise, you can just input them here, and this can be just anything you'd like. You could say 1 week. Cool. Checkout not available. This is again assuming that you're selling things. If you're not selling things, this wouldn't say mark is quoted. This would say something like pending or waiting. So a checkout isn't available until you've actually considered something quoted. By the way, you can move through these various stages of production or product life cycle or whatever you'd like to call it. You can move through these various stages just by clicking them. Cool. All right, let's get into some, not all, but like the major little settings here. Let's start with apply setting to all parts. Apply settings, plural, to all parts. That's going to do exactly what you think it is. It's going to make every single part a PETG gray part with a 30% infill and 0.25 millimeter layer height. So very convenient way to just apply the settings to every single part. Duplicate part is going to be convenient for when you want to have the same part made but with different settings. Very nice. Okay, let's get into the replace part feature. That's very convenient. Over on the other screen, I'm gonna find the crank pulley file and change it to V2. That's what that clicking was about. And let's say that your engineer has sent you a new version of the part. This is where you would upload the newest version without affecting anything else that's going on or without having to start from scratch. Moreover, you can find all of your versions in the version history, so nothing is lost forever. Incredibly convenient. That was a game changer when we added that feature. Okay, let's go to set to staff only. This is also incredibly convenient. Anything that has been set to staff only will only be visible to you guys there on the staff side. Your clients and customers won't be able to see this It's just very nice for when you have a really complex project and maybe you have to start adding a bunch of like supplemental things to the project, but you don't want that to affect pricing, you don't want that to show up on the quote, you don't want that to show up on the packing slip. This is just all the behind the scenes kind of messy stuff. Set to staff only will prevent anyone but you and your team from being able to see that model. Okay, cool. Those are the major ones. The other ones are a little bit more advanced, so or they're just less common. So we'll get into those in other videos. But let's now move the project into production. Once a project goes into production, all kinds of things will start to happen with all of your metrics and everything else. All of your dashboard views are now affected by this. And basically, we are getting ready to start making stuff. Okay? So you can mark how many are printing, how many are counted, things like that. But before we get into that, let's get a G code. And I don't have one handy, which you'd think I would. So just hang tight with me. Okay, so the next thing I want to show you, and I apologize if there was a little cut right there. I want to show you what happens if you upload a job file. This could be something like a 3MF or a G code, or if you're using a Fortis, then I think that's like a .print file. It really, we're set up for anything here, but we all kind of know what a G code is. And basically, a job file is the same thing. It is the file that you would send to the machine to tell it to do stuff. So let's drop in the crank pulley G code that I have here, and the software is going to ask you, okay, what's in this G code? And I happen to know that one crank pulley is in this G code. Okay, so I'm going to hit done. Great. Now here is where I can download the job file for this part. Anytime I want it, it's right there. I just click that button, it's all mine. Someone comes back later, wants to see, wants to check my work, wants to see my slice, that's where that is. It's also at the top of every project. You'll have all of your jobs and all of the various parts that are, therein. You see these numbers called printed and counting and things like that. Obviously nothing's printing yet, nothing's counted yet. If we were to start this, we could say mark is printing, and down here, sure enough, we can now see that one of the crank pulleys is printing. This is invaluable, of course, for keeping track of everything and making sure that you don't get two people working on the same thing at the same time, things like that. So that is how you can easily keep all of your 3MF files, your print settings, your everything convenient, and those will be available to you indefinitely. So if someone comes back 3 months later and says, I've got a new crank pulley, I like what you did 3 months ago, slice it the same way, you can just download it from there, and you'll know all the old settings that you used. Great. What else should I show you guys? So at the bottom, you can add just random additional things that might not be CAD files. So this would be things like just custom paint or whatever else. You can add notes for each part here, but here this would be something just like something random, that isn't a line item up here. That's how you could add additional line items to the bottom there. Okay, later on we'll talk about more advanced things like how convenient it can be to tag various projects or various parts, particularly when you start to have hundreds or thousands of things going on at the same time. We can get into the various metrics behind everything and how all the more complex stuff works. But in the meantime, this is a pretty quick down and dirty tutorial that should have you up and going pretty quickly. So if you saw what I just did, I saved a quote, and there's what it looks like. Cool. All right, what else do we have? We have packing slips, partial packing slips if you're only shipping out some of your parts. Over here under utilities, you can email the customer. Email templates, I think that I didn't get into any of that. So you can create your own email templates and they can reference projects and prices and all sorts of things like that. And this is just a convenient way to, you can also automate them. So as they move through various levels of like the product life cycle, the customer will be emailed along the way. Cool. What else? You can duplicate a project. So if someone comes back with a very, very, very similar request, maybe just a few things are different. You can duplicate the project and you'll basically just get a whole new project that has a new project number, but all of the same stuff. If you'd like to apply a discount, if you're the kind of place that sells something, you can do that. So here the grand total is $613.36. So what you could do is you could apply a discount, let's just say a 10% discount, and it'll show you what the resulting total would be. Or you can get to that resulting total. You can say, no, I just want this whole project to be $400. Okay, well then it'll apply a appropriate discount either to each individual line item, or it'll just discount, it'll add a whole additional line item at the very bottom that just says blah, blah, blah discount. So I wish I was scrolling over I wish I was hovered over these, but all of these prices just changed, and now it's gotten as close as it could get to the number that it wanted to get to. Okay, cool. I think that is it for this tutorial. We'll get into the more advanced stuff later. Thanks so much for watching, you guys, and I'll see you next time.